Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the Double Down seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which, at the start of the match, every card in our deck gets duplicated, and every time we play a unit, we will play a unit with the same provision cost from our deck. That means we can play twice as many units as usual, opening up tons of deck building options. So let's go take a look at the deck. So today we'll be playing a Northern Realms Royal Inspiration Knights deck that is fantastic at loading up on tons and tons of boosts, especially in this event because we can play twice as many knights. So what we'll do is early on we may want to begin by playing our defender, Donimir of Troy, just to keep it safe in the range row in particular because we have some range row specific engines, and then on our next play, either we go into our scenario, Damsel in Distress, which gives us a ton of knight synergies every time we trigger a grace ability, giving us a lot of boosts. And again, with twice as many knights as usual, that is going to give us a lot of value. That's one option. But similarly, we can go with Vysogota of Corvo, which is another fantastic source of boost because he gets a charge every time we play a card and every time our opponent plays a card. And assuming that most of the time people are playing units, that means that people are playing twice as many units as usual in this event, so he gains twice as many charges as usual. That's just from one Vysogota. You get the second Vysogota out from your deck because he costs the same amount of provisions, and that is just insane how many boosts you get from him. We do have another 8 provision cost card though, so either you're getting that other Vysogota, or alternatively, you are getting Reynard, but fortunately, they are used for the same situation. You play them early in the round and they give you a bunch of boosts. So either way, that works for us. Then, if you did play Damsel in Distress, and just in general, a good next card to play, is to go with your Knight Errants, because if you have boosted cards on either side of them, they will get boosted by 2 every turn, and that's a solid engine. And they are, again, units that have grace, and they are knights, so they will trigger Damsel in Distress, and they can get boosts to your adjacent cards once you do trigger that. In addition to that, we also have the Maiden Shield, which is another strong engine for us, another knight. It has grace, so it works well with Damsel in Distress, and once it gets boosted up, it will eventually spawn in Bronwyn the Bold at 8 power, and then at 14 power, will boost up Bronwyn the Bold, such that she can use an ability to double the amount of boost that one of our cards receives. So you can put that on maybe one of the Knight Errants if it has boosted units next to it, that way it'll get boosted even faster, or you could use that to power up a Tridam Infantry so that it gets boosted twice as much as usual, and that means that every time it gets boosted, it deals even more damage than usual. So that's another ideal boosting recipient. Or you can go big with Anseis, who is one of our best sources of damage in this deck, so use him if your opponent has something that is really important for you to get rid of. And even in the melee row, you get one less boost, but honestly, you have so many boosts in this deck that that's no big deal. Still gonna have plenty of ways to get him powerful enough to get tons of value out of his dueling ability. And that could come in particular from Knighthood, which, especially late on in the round when we have a bunch of knights on the board, which again, because we have twice as many knights as usual, that's a lot. That means we get a huge boost on whatever we play, and means you're probably going to, if you're using this on a Grace Knight, get either very close or just immediately trigger that Grace, which is pretty good, or alternatively, use this to get Anseis, and at least the first Anseis that you play from your deck is going to get a humongous boost, and the second one won't get the boost from Knighthood, it's just coming out from Double Down, but even then, just use whatever other boosting engines you have on the board to power up that second Anseis, and you're still getting amazing value out of that as well. Then, because we have so many units that we're trying to get on the board, it can lead to us flooding our rows quite a bit, and eventually you might run out of space. So for that reason, we have some special cards. And generally, those special cards are still looking to do the same thing, give us boosts. They, of course, only play one copy, because only units get played twice in this event, but playing one copy of a special card is still better than playing a unit that you don't have space to use, so it just gets discarded. So Bone Talisman is great as a finisher once your rows are near or completely full. And you also have Mahakam Ale. If your opponent locks one of your key engines, then you can use this on that. And in general, just if your rows are full, gives you a little bit more value from the boost. And also Clear Skies, which is basically just a weaker version of the Bone Talisman. Then the other thing that we have is toward the end of the round, we can use Coen, which is another potential boosting recipient, because when we use his order ability, he will boost up all other cards that have the same amount of boost as he has, and if you are very careful with how you are spreading around your boosts, you can get just absolutely astronomical boosts out of this as well. And a way to set him up beyond just things like Vysogota would be using the Griffin Witcher Ranger, because assuming we play this near the end of the round, our opponent will have a lot of units on the board, so we are going to get a ton of value out of this, and you can then reallocate all those boosts onto one of your Grace Knights to trigger that Grace, or onto Coen to help make him have a much more powerful order ability. Other than that, I mean, we have Squire, which can help us reach Grace, just / generally turn Knights into engines, and Redanian Knight, which is another value Knight to help trigger Damsel in Distress, and will eventually, of course, trigger this Grace as well. But that's just about it. So, of course, the idea of the deck is to maximize all of our boosts, and once we fill our rows with highly boosted Knights, we can still use some special cards to give us even more boosts, and then in round 3, we do have one particularly important finisher that we'd like to save, that being Geralt Yrden. And so, if our opponent is doing a bunch of boosting, then it's a way to reset all their boosts. It also can help counter one of what would be the best counters against us if our opponents are playing Nilfgaard and using Kahir, who absorbs all of our boosts. It's somewhat common in this event. Then you can use Geralt to reset that row, and because he's our only 11 provision cost card, get the other Geralt out from your deck as well, and then reset your opponent's other row. And that makes up for the fact that this deck does not have much in the way of damage outside of just Anseis. So with all of that being said, let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and we'll go first. Alright, so we have one of our scenarios, Damsel in Distress. We have another copy in our deck. We have Reynard and Vysogota, 2 good early round plays. Same with Knight Errant, and that can go along well with Damsel in Distress, so like that. Redanian Knight can help trigger it, and Coen can be really good with Vysogota as well. So this is good stuff, but I do wonder to what extent we might have maybe too many similar cards here, and we'd like to save some of the stuff for round 3 instead. So what if we drop one of these Knight Errants, and we definitely don't want to get Reynard in hand. I don't think we'll swap you out as well. And Tridam Infantry actually could be useful as the recipient of Vysogota boost. If we do opt to go that route, we'll use Curse Scroll to get Oneiromancy for sure. But primary question is this round a Vysogota round? Is it a Damsel in Distress round? Or do we think Reynard in and of itself is enough? I mean, we'd probably combine him with Damsel. So yeah, I think we probably do that. So we can't use Curse Scroll on our first turn. So it does mean that we need to settle with what we have initially here. And suppose that means, I mean, we could play Damsel. I'd like to get the Defender out there first in case they're about to Heatwave it, but we'll do it. Let's go. I mean, we have a ton of Knight Errants in deck, but it doesn't really have the setup yet, so let's go Squire. I think that's preferable early on. So most concerned about just a flat-out Heatwave on Damsel. If they lock this Squire, then, you know, it's not the end of the world. Or damage it, which, yeah, they're going to have enough damage to destroy it, I assume, if they're going to go with another Mage Assassin here. Yeah, alright, fair enough. I mean, for what it's worth, they've flooded their board a lot with relatively low-value cards, so decent tempo, yes, but in a long round that is going to perhaps make things a little bit tricky for them. So we'll try to make a point of having higher value cards, taking up our limited real estate, and I think we can make that happen here by going Curse Scroll to get Oneiromancy. Let's probably dump... Might be Redanian Knight. We have enough Knights in hand to trigger our scenario, and we can probably get more out from our deck, especially because this Oneiromancy is going to be to get another Oneiromancy, so we get both echoed copies going into round 2, and with this one, this is where we will use it to get Donimir, which might technically be overkill, but now let's go Maiden Shield, use that, and it'll trigger our last chapter of our scenario already, which means we'll get a Mad Charge on Maiden Shield and get Bronwyn, and she's already boosted up a little bit from the scenario. Now we technically could have put you next to Donimir, and got a little more boosts out of that, but the Purification means Donimir is no longer a defender. So, with a few more boosts, you then will power up Bronwyn further. And we could slide a Knight Errant in between you two, which would benefit from having 2 boosted units right next to it. On the other hand, I was thinking Reynard could be a good fit, and we'd kind of like to have a card on the other side of Maiden Shield so that we can get more boosts from when this Grace ability does get triggered. So maybe it's Reynard and then it's Knight Errant. This might give us our other Vysogota, but we kind of like to see another Reynard, I think. It is Vysogota. Alright, so be it. So here, Vysogota, we will use to, well, probably help get you up to that Grace number. So with no defender, Vysogota is going to get locked, I think. Yeah, that's why we were going to play Donimir, and initially he was going to protect us. We do have a Mahakam Ale, so we can unlock one of these two if we would like to do so. On one hand, we kind of want to play units as quickly as possible because that way our units, we have a bunch of engines, they can continue to gain value, but, and that's more time sensitive. On the other hand, we have engines currently on the board that can't really do anything, but yeah, this is a lower value play still, I think. And so let's go probably Knight Errant, and with that Knight Errant, make sure that you get boosted, and you have a lot of units in that row, so, and we're getting kind of full in this row, so why don't we get boosted based on this, and we can immediately pass over those boosts to either Knight Errant or Maiden Shield. In either case, it would be enough to trigger Grace. Would it be? I mean, at the end of this turn, it certainly would be. And that means we have a bit of a domino effect of Grace triggering there. Now they're putting spying on Vysogota, which means they're going to try to create a copy of this, I imagine, with Terra Nova in a later round. But now I think what we're going to do is we're going to either... Yeah, we'll probably unlock you on this turn. Unlock you on this turn, and then that enables us to go Tridam Infantry and have that be the recipient of our subsequent boosts. So let's do that, I think. It's not amazing on this turn, but it could also... No, I don't think we want to put Bronwyn on Vysogota. We'd like to do that to Tridam Infantry. So let's do this. Now, of course, this is Nilfgaard. They may very well have additional lock. We're going to see. For what it's worth, if they have an Igni, which I think is pretty unusual in this event, but that would be pretty effective on this occasion, they're just going to pass. And I guess they don't think they can outscore us here, and, you know, even with those locks, we still got a lot of points out of this, so that's fine. We'll take the round 1 win in that case. And with double Oneiromancy and a Mahakam Ale, we can basically do exactly the same thing in another round. We did play one more card than our opponent in round 1, so we might look to make this round short, either dry pass or use a throwaway, so maybe we get rid of Mahakam Ale. And, I mean, Yrden is a great pickup, but I was kind of looking for a throwaway, and that is definitely not one of them. So, maybe we'll just dry pass here, and yes, we could play Tridam Infantry, but I'd like to keep that as a target for this Vysogota in the future, so I think we just leave it as is, and we say, well, our hand is so good that we don't really want to throw something away. I mean, we could play in round 2, but I think we'll settle for round 3. Because especially if we have last say, that is a big deal when we have Yrden. Okay, Imperial Practitioner, which is going to be, it would have been, potentially, an interesting card from this build around if they had it earlier, but don't have much time to do much with it here. They're going to steal a Redanian Knight, but that's not really a factor. Okay, so then we draw into our other Knighthood, so we have actually a bunch of tutors here. We should make sure we have enough knights to make this happen. I mean, yeah, we can do this to get our Knight Errants, right? But we could get a little bit flooded here. We need to be kind of mindful of that. That's why I do like having Bone Talisman. That is a good finisher. That combined with, obviously, Yrden, but we need to make sure we have the space to play Yrden. So I think we are going to use these to play Knight Errants, and Griffin Witcher Ranger is great, but it's our other 5 provision cost card. So, yeah. Honestly, Mad Charge is not great, but, okay, Reynard, we were gonna get anyway from Vysogota. Yeah. Because those are only remaining 8 provision cost cards, I believe. Right? Didn't we have Reynard and Vysogota in round 1? Yeah. So that's a brick. That is quite literally 0 additional value from this Reynard. So it means we're not getting anything from deck when we play you or you. So I was looking for, and should have just settled for, Mad Charge, another special card of some variety, ideally another Bone Talisman, because I was expecting for us to run out of board space at some point. So I think what we'll do here is probably Oneiro into Donimir, then Oneiro into Damsel in Distress, and basically from there on out look to do the same thing we started to do in round 1. So, did we get double Donimir? No, we didn't in round 1, so that means we still have you, and we still have Maiden Shield here. So we can do this first, which I think is preferable. Yes, these are knights, which could have triggered our scenario, but I think we'll have enough knights for that to happen anyway, so that's not a huge factor. Question this time is, are they going to... Yep. All right, fair enough. It is basically exactly the same as the previous round. Fair enough. Fair enough. That hurt a lot from these guys. So I'm thinking we was gonna go Damsel in Distress, and then use that to probably just get a Squire out here to help boost up the next card we play. Yeah, then those guys will hit this. Actually, is it next card you... Last unit your opponent played. Which technically would still be you because we're summoning out that Squire. So, do we feel the urge to protect you with something else? And if so, what is that? That's actually rather difficult for us to do unless we're sacrificing leader ability, which is not going to trigger your grace, which is unfortunate. I think we're just sacrificing Maiden Shield here. I think we have to sacrifice it. Does it hurt? Yes. Also, where is Damsel? There you are. This might summon a random card. Unless we have enough time to get the Squire. So I don't think these guys are going to hit the Squire, because technically, at least if we're reading this wording word for word, it would still be the last unit that we played, which was Maiden Shield, because again, we summoned, not played this Squire. We would probably prefer that the Squire gets taken out rather than Maiden Shield, but not much we can do to stop that. And as I said, we technically could have boosted you up, and yes, it would have kept you alive, possibly, but it would have bricked our leader ability. I mean, yes, we would have gotten at least 5 boosts out of it. I guess that's something, but it's not amazing. And yeah, they're loading up on tons of damage then with these guys. So that can add up quickly. So that's in part why I was willing to just say, all right, you know what? We'll let you go down here. So it seemed like, that was just the start of their damage. They are probably still going to have enough. Okay, sure, you're going to lock that. It's not a huge deal. But, ooh, interestingly, yeah, once they have destroyed our most recently played card, the damage stops. So it's kind of, sort of, a workaround, and we like that they used the lock there when we were probably about to play Vysogota, or Reynard, and so, means it should be considerably safer to play these guys now. Of course, again, it's still Nilfgaard. They have Imprisonment, so they're definitely going to lock. Well, whatever we play next. So maybe we bait out a leader ability charge with Reynard rather than Vysogota. Vysogota is probably more valuable for us. We had the means to get rid of lock, but we don't anymore. We had it in round 1. We also may have run into it in this round, but I opted not to keep it, which, may not have been the right choice. Alright, Philippe. More statuses. And it's going to be a second Philippe. Yeah, this is a really strong combo. Because they can basically do whatever they want with double Philippes and immediately lock stuff. So, oof. Against an engine-centric deck like the one we are running, that makes matters quite challenging for us. So, what we might need to do here, yes, I think we need to break out a double Anseis with Knighthood. I think that's what we need to do. Melee row for the Zeal. Let's do it. We have a lot of, or not a ton of knights, but enough knights on the board that they will get boosted, and we can use this Mad Charge to boost them up further. And we just want to make sure that they both are big enough to take on these Philippes and immediately destroy them. Because if we let those go unchecked, it would have probably been game over. It's still going to be really hard for us, but it is at least theoretically possible for us to still win it now. Okay, more damage on our most recently played card, which is currently one that has armor, fortunately for us, but still going to be a lot of damage on this Anseis. So they still have 2 leader ability charges, which is not really something that we want to see. So again, we want to play Vysogota on one hand. On the other hand, as soon as we do, it is going to get destroyed by these guys or locked by their leader ability, and Vysogota is only playing himself. We're not going to get the other unit out from our deck because we don't have any 8 provision cost cards remaining here. So that does stink. I think in that case, we might opt for a Knighthood for Knight Errants in between these 2 Anseises. Like this. And that way, that just missed, yeah. Tried to do quick math and I was wrong, but got at least 1 extra charge out of leader ability there. They're gonna lock the Knight Errant, so now, okay. I am surprised they waited that long to break out Cahir. Alright, so for what it's worth, that would normally be an amazing counter for what we're trying to do. Problem for that is that we have Yrden, which is the counter for Cahir, so we're actually okay with proceeding to boost. And now that they've used both leader ability charges, it is safe to play Vysogota, or safer to play Vysogota. These guys are still gonna probably destroy it immediately. Yeah. But I think we need to settle for that. Or we can get Tridam Infantry down there, and this would ideally be the recipient of those Vysogota boosts. Maybe we do that initially, just so that first Vysogota charge is worth something. But, yeah. I think we do that, to tell you the truth. It means this Vysogota, we're basically getting nothing out of it. So, yeah, this Squire is going to get destroyed by these guys, but Tridam Infantry should stay alive. Okay, Practitioner. It might just be more assimilate for the sake of more assimilate. How many of these light cavalry do they have? It's very clearly what their deck is structured to do. But again, we do have a very nice ace up our sleeve. So, it's probably Vysogota turn. Again, it's Vysogota only. We have 1 charge we'll use on this Tridam Infantry. Granted, dealing damage is not all that meaningful when we're going to do double Yrden. So, it's not actually all that impactful. Tell you what. It's actually more valuable for us to use Coen as the recipient of our boosts. Let's do this. It's going to get our initial Coen, and also Coen out from our deck, because he is our only 6 provision cost card, and we still have the other Coen in our deck. So this one's going to get destroyed by all these light cavalry. This one we're hoping stays alive, though, because then if we boost that one up with Vysogota, we can get you up to 4, and we have a bunch of 4 cards, so it's not very big. It's still not amazing. We would have liked to, of course, had him be a very significant boosting recipient had we had things like the Maiden Shield and Bronwyn survive, and Vysogota be a safer earlier play, but such was not the case. We do this, we boost you. It boosts the Cahirs. We're going to be fine with that, assuming that we will reset those Cahirs. And so now we use you. We are going to boost up this guy, and this guy. So, it's something. Which is more than we could say about this combo here. Who are they going to lock, out of curiosity? Yeah, it's Vysogota anyway. Also, their board is now full. Which is also significant. So now, our plan is Bone Talisman on this turn, which we have not a full board, so it's not amazing value, but it's, hey, we can still get points, which might not be the case for them. And we know these Cahirs will still get boosted. Now, is double Yrden going to be enough? That is our question here. They can't play anything. So it all comes down to the double Yrden finisher. Is it sufficient? We're about to find out. We are about to find out. I think we are, technically, yeah, no, it's absolutely reset both of their rows. I don't know here. It's close. It's very close, but we will hold on for the win. Alright, so going up against monsters here. And we'll go first. Alright, so we have Donimir, our defender, which might be our first turn play, because that can mean a safer Damsel in Distress on our next turn. And then we certainly have the Knights to set that up, although we might be able to get a little more ambitious here, see if we can get some higher provision cost, higher power knights. Oneiro is great. Yes, that could potentially get us some better knights, but think, okay, Yrden is a fantastic round 3 finisher, but we would like to save it for round 3. And, yeah, I think we're still looking to... We can probably summon in a Squire with Damsel is what we'll opt to do. Looking for something bigger here, though. Vysogota is a very nice early play. Potentially an alternative to Damsel. Could go with one of them in this round and the other one in the other rounds. Let's go... Let's go Damsel this round, I guess. And we'll do Vysogota possibly in this round, but possibly save him for round 3. So we'll do Donimir first just to play safe, and we'll go range row in case we do decide to use Vysogota later. Not thrilled about getting the second Donimir here. I guess we'll go melee row in this case, just because he is one of 2 9 provision cost cards in our deck, the other one being the Maiden Shield. And we'd like to have one of these guys to help protect Vysogota if we were planning to play Vysogota in a subsequent round. I mean, admittedly, I saw Carapace and I was kind of expecting Kelly. Although it'd be kind of weird and double down. I mean, maybe. But the Death Wish, and damaging Death Wish at that, is perhaps a bit of a concern. Since we have now gotten both Donimirs out here, I think we might need to go Vysogota, to tell you the truth. Yes, if this gets destroyed, Vysogota is going to go down. So we might... I mean, we could get a little bit greedy and do both. We have Oneiro, so we can get additional copies of these guys in later rounds. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I think I'm still going to go Squire here, because that can help us, when we do eventually play Vysogota, get it out of... technically still in removal range for this Rot Fiend, but I imagine they're about to consume this. Or not. I mean, the Self-Eaters are strong, yes, but don't necessarily synergize with the things that they did previously, so I don't know what to make of that. Alright, let's go activate Squire. And, well, on one hand, we'd like to get Vysogota out here as quickly as possible to maximize the amount of charges we get. On the other hand, we'd like to use this ability on a knight, and Vysogota is not a knight. Put Oneiro into Maiden Shield. I mean, that's a lot of big commitments in round 1, and I'm not really sure I want to do that, but we could Oneiro into a Knight Errant, I suppose. That could work. Let's do that. We'll go Oneiro into, technically, should be the other Oneiro. So we get both echoed copies in the next round. Then we go Knight Errant. Put you here into another Knight Errant, which we put here. And then we boost you, actually, with the Mad Charge from triggering Damsel in Distress, and that way we have boosted units all around, so you're getting double boosted. We'd like to get another boosted card over here. Which Apprentice will also do a bunch of boosts, so now it's looking more like a Relicts deck. That explains the Self-Eaters, although you should have used the Order abilities on those first. Yeah, I don't know how to make much sense out of what they're going for here, but although we are currently tied, I think that we have a better setup at the moment. So as long as we get a boosted card over on this side, then that should work well for us. Now, technically, Redanian Knight is not going to get boosted early enough for this Knight Errant to count it as a boosted unit. So we may want to go for something else. Well, we'll go Redanian Knight initially. And then, okay, I mean, probably would prefer the opposite order. But, yeah, we'll do... Yes, we'll put you in the melee row just so we don't have everything in the same row. Although, then again, we do like having cards on the other side of this Redanian Knight so that when this Grace ability triggers, we can get you boosting up this Squire as well. Yeah, they have not used these Self-Eater order abilities at all, which is very odd. You definitely want to use that, because it, long-term, does mean they gain more power from this. But now, I mean, we could go with leader ability here a bit, and trigger, you, then you, I mean, gives us a lot of tempo, but I think what we want is probably a knight for this squire, and it might be other knight errants. Or what else? I mean, I don't feel like we want to go with Maiden Shield at this stage. Reynard, it's kind of late, but if we trigger his Grace, then that could work. So maybe we do that. Maybe we go first scroll into... Where'd he go? Reynard? We'll put you back. Play Reynard. And it actually, yeah, it does give us Vysogota. This is probably going to go melee row because I was too pokey with it. But yeah, so Reynard and Vysogota are two 8 provision cost cards, so I was really hoping we were going to get double Reynard there, because then he's more usable late round than Vysogota is. So, I mean, we obviously still have this Vysogota as well, so we save this. What did they did not consume the Rot Fiend. Okay, so now what we'll do is we will go Tridam Infantry, and with it, we will get it boosted up from Vysogota. And the question of how many leader ability charges, if any, do we want to use in round 1? Because if we want to, we can use a ridiculous amount. And this might be the last card we want to play. I guess we could have done Knighthood previously, but we'll do this. That'll give us another one of these Redanian Knights, so we'll put you out here as well. And yes, here. So now Vysogota will use you to, I think, trigger this Grace. And then let's give you a quick little boost. We could just go absolutely bonkers on leader ability here, but I'm gonna hold back. I think I'm gonna hold back. So there's a bunch of Graces gonna trigger at the end of our turn anyway. Okay, Marilorn I don't think is gonna be enough here. Also, it hit a unit that had a shield and got boosted from it, losing that shield. So I did save Reynard's ability in case we were gonna play anything else. That being said, I don't really want to play anything else other than maybe Bone Talisman, which is not a bad finisher. Again, we have a card that is 1 away from triggering its Grace, but I think we'll just go Bone Talisman here. We will use Vysogota to just pour the boost on Tridam Infantry. And then we will use Reynard, and that will be the last thing we want to do in this round. Okay, Oneiromancy into Yrden. Okay, so that means that's going to hurt a lot. We are definitely going to lose this round at the... Well, I mean, technically we might still be able to make a comeback if we really wanted to, but it would take a pretty significant commitment at this point. So I feel like we just accept the fact that they committed Yrden in this round and save ours for round 3. I mean, alternatively, we could Knighthood here, and we do have a lot of knights on the board. Use that to destroy at least this Gernakora with... Yeah, might do that. We get out melee row Anseis. We have a lot of knights, so he gets a lot of boosts. And we get our other Anseis out as well. And so we do this. You can destroy Gernakora. Then this Anseis can just go after their biggest card, although technically this Witch Apprentice is going to be their biggest card, so let's do that. And then we'll actually do some boosts here. Oh, that's going to boost one of their cards. It's going to boost a random card at the end of our turn since I had not targeted someone in time. I deliberately made sure that we were had a boosted unit on each side of the Knight Errants, because the problem was, after that Yrden, it shut down many of our engines, most importantly these Knight Errants. So that's why I was not convinced that we wanted to play further. And they still have some decent stuff here. Oh, and what did they end up getting rid of there? Was it one of our Redanian Knights, I think? So at this point, we don't really want to play any further because we don't want to commit Yrden, and last turn Vysogota is obviously pretty terrible. So do we have enough passive point scoring for that to be a difference maker here? You're going to get boosted by 1. You're going to go up by 2. You're going to go up by 2. So that's, what, 5 total? You're going to go up by 1. That's 6 total. So gets us up to 100. Well, I don't like that. I think we're going to do it. I don't want to do it, but I think we're going to do it. And then we're going to load up. All your stuff technically should put you in between some other units so we could trigger more boosts when we do your grace stuffs. Oh, and you don't have zeal either. Darn. Okay, but I think the most important thing was that we just continue to play here and, yeah, outboost them. Because win round 1, my goodness. I did not think we were going to have to invest that much in round 1 to make it happen. And, initially I thought that they were misplaying when they did not create copies of the Self-Eater, but that might have been deliberate. That might have been because they knew they had a bunch more units that they wanted to play, and they were going to run out of space if they did create the copies of it. So, fortunately, we walk away with this win in round 1. And I think they are probably going to Witch's Sabbath as their win condition in the next round, and use that to get out, what, a 15 and 14 point Self-Eater. Again, that makes sense that's why they didn't create copies of them, because that lowers their base power and one of those 9-point units as well. So we'll probably dry pass here, but let's, yeah, see if we can get some better stuff. And Yrden, I mean, it doesn't reset base power, of course, so that may not be as good of a finisher, but we'll have to see. So we'll pass now. Double Oneiromancy is definitely helpful to set ourselves up for round 3, but we use a ton of big cards in round 1, so we don't have that much firepower left. Okay, Doppler, it might give us a little bit of information about what they have. They have 3 of the same type of card, presumably. That means Relicts. Okay, so Coen would have been a great recipient for our boosts in the previous round, and in many ways that is one of the things we were missing. I guess we had to try to move the tree, but we don't have that many boosts left. Yes, Bronwyn through Maiden Shield could help make that happen, but I think we get rid of Mad Charge, and at the end, Griffin Witcher Ranger can help us trigger some of those grace abilities. I think given how we have Coen, Tridam Infantry is not as necessary, and just getting something that boosts itself without needing setup from other cards is probably preferable, not to mention getting more grace units out there that we can use to set up our leader ability, which was something that we considered using round 1 and could have had be a very big factor. Maybe that could have made round 1 a little bit shorter and limited the amount of stuff we needed to invest, but we played most of our big cards in round 1. We still have our leader ability. Is that the right decision that we made? We will find out. Okay, so this is going to be to get... Oh. Lesser Witch. Interesting. So obviously, melee rare Redanian Knight is not really something we want to see. So that is unfortunate. We, technically speaking, can still trigger its grace, though. Even in this row, it's kind of difficult when it's not going to get boosted from other stuff. But let's use this Redanian Knight. Or... yeah. Hold on, let's take stock. So we'll get this Maiden Shield when we play the other one. I think we're going to want to probably tutor in some Knight Errants. Might even go near into Knighthood to get them. That is probably higher pointage. But how are we getting boosts? Damsel in Distress is the answer. Damsel in Distress is the answer, and that is going to be turn 1 in that case. And with it, let's actually go Squire, because the thing we are missing here is the stuff that gets the boosting started. And so if we use this on Maiden Shield, then suddenly Maiden Shield is much easier to set up. Yeah, so what we want them to do is we want them to be boosting. Not increasing base power, boosting. Because otherwise, Yrden is going to be a tough card for us to use. It's not going to have much value. So now I think we go Squire into Maiden Shield. And let's try to get some units next to each other. So that when we trigger Grace, it will be more effective. And let's do this. That's going to be our other knight, and therefore it's going to give us our last round of this scenario. So let's use this on you. I mean, technically that could have been something we could put on this guy, but once this Maiden Shield gets up to its grace number, then you're going to get boosted again. So it should still be possible for us to hit this grace number here. And now Bronwyn is almost ready to go as well. Really, Francis Bedlam. Didn't see that coming. Okay, so now, on one hand, we'd like to get Redanian Knight out here. And we would like to put it in the range row, so we would like to have one card in between, or one card right here to get the boost from this Maiden Shield, who actually is about to get this Grace ability triggered. So I think we'll go Redanian Knight, and then whatever we get from our deck, the other 4 provision cost card, which is probably going to be Tridam Infantry, maybe a Squire, I mean, hopefully not this other Redanian Knight. So we want to have something we can put right there. So let's do this, and good. It is Tridam Infantry, let's put you here. And the other thing is we want to get Coen out pretty early, and we should be looking very soon to spam leader ability. Okay. More Relicts. And finally something that boosts, and I suppose the Francis Bedlam will give them hand boosting. So that gives us a potential way to get some value, at least, out of Yrden. But, okay, so I think now what we want is we want to get Coen. And we could use Griffin Witcher Ranger to power up Coen, but that's a little bit tricky to set up. Also, what is our other Oneiro for? We're going to say, what, Knighthood into Knight Errant, so we'd like to do that soon as well. In that case, we might want to do that next. And just rely on Griffin Witcher Ranger plus, basically just Griffin Witcher Ranger to set up Coen. So let's do this into actually a, where are you? Knighthood. Use that to get a bigger Knight Errant and have it be pre-boosted so that when we get, oh, I was hoping for another Knight Errant. But, okay, in that case, we will get more boost than I expected to get. At least short term. Not as much long term. I'm kind of trying to wait to use leader ability until we get Coen out here, because I was thinking about squeezing him in between some of these race units, but that may not be all that feasible. Okay, She Who Knows, obviously the carryover doesn't matter anymore. So now it is probably the Coen turn. If we use you, we can get an 8-point boost on Coen to get you up to 11, which would hit Maiden Shield, which is pretty nice. And actually, yielding 11 at the end of this turn as well. I also like. I think we might settle for that. Do get our other Coen out. And there are some Galaxy Brain strats for chaining Coens together. I think we still do this. That does not disrupt our plans for chaining together 11s. Do you have a passive source of boosting? No, okay. Witch Apprentice. The other thing is, I guess if we went Griffin Witcher Ranger, we might have been able to get the same amount of boosts on this Griffin Witcher Ranger to set up that chaining Coen action that I was referring to, but obviously we're using you now, and we will... Oh, it's the same number of units in each row? Yeah. Okay, and here is the Knight Errant that we expected to see previously. And... yeah. Put you here. Or actually... wanted to put you there, to tell you the truth. Because we're not going to get a boost on that guy when he triggers Grace. But, put you in between 2 boosted units. And... so I think we will move your boost onto this guy. Because now we have several 11s, and I think we can settle for that. That's not bad value. Although actually, let's make it more valuable. Why not? Oh, and now you're no longer boosted. Yes, that's not a great spot to put you, but we do still have some leader ability charges. We can use that, plus Yrden, of course, and Bronwyn on our last turn. Okay, so they are doing some boosts here, so we're getting at least some value in theory out of Yrden, so that's good news. Now, do they have Yrden? Because that would be painful. It's Oneiro, that's scary. Yeah, it is. Okay, they have a lot of base power. We do not. Most of our pointage is coming from boosts. Okay, but fortunately, it's only a single Yrden. So this may still be possible for us to catch them. So, fortunately, we do still have Bronwyn's ability here. So we can use that. What other graces can we hit here? You need 6 points, which is too much. And unless we go Bronwyn on you, then leader ability, at which point that might be sufficient. I think it is. I guess that's our best play here. Is we do that. Then that. Which is enough. That actually would have gotten you up to 11, but no other grace left, is there? So let's... Okay, we need to be very fast. Okay, there's nothing else for us to do anyway. Please do not Yrden ourselves, otherwise we'll lose. Because it's gonna Yrden someone. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. End of our turn. Doesn't matter. Random Yrden target, we still take a win. So there's a look at Northern Realms Knight's deck for the new Double Down seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.